Hi friends, Chad Husted here with Team Quadzilla, here to share 5 principles of positive leadership for life and work. Based upon this book that I recently read called The Power of Positive Leadership by Jon Gordon. And I notice the title here includes 2 words that are important to me, so I was intrigued to dig into it. The first word is positive because my nature is not so positive. In fact, it's only been the last several years or so that I've even realized how negative and pessimistic I was. And I've had to work hard at trying to change that deeply rooted mindset. So I'm very interested in anything I can learn about renewing my mind and changing the way I think, and therefore, hopefully, the way I behave. Secondly, the word leadership is important to me. I mean, look around. Doesn't it seem like our world is suffering from poor leadership? So I just believe that learning about leadership, the skills and mindset and behavior can only help me, a better worker, and a better leader in my sphere of influence. And so I thought this book, which I recommend that everybody read, and some of the takeaways I learned are worth sharing with you. So I encourage you to take notes as there are several questions I'll ask for your personal reflection to help you apply what you learned today. So let's start by defining a leader. So a leader, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, is these things here. One who directs is someone who's providing instructions or tells others what or how to do something. They influence, they encourage by word and example, and they manage. They're responsible for the outcome or the result. They go first, like the lead sled dog or a military commander. Um, they're like a conductor, perhaps. I like this one. It's one who leads the orchestra but doesn't necessarily play any of the instruments. Maybe you can relate to that. I know I surely can. And also one who serves. A leader takes care of others and helps. So I'm a project manager by trade, and I can ask myself this question: is a project manager a leader? And you can ask the same question for your role. Um, Here's a list. Do you look for solutions and solve problems? Do others look to you for answers and solutions to problems? Um, do you delegate tasks to others, or are you responsible for some result or outcome? Or do you support others to ensure they can do their job well? What's curious to me about these questions is that they can apply to any role or vocation. So as Maxwell states it, everybody's a leader. Whether you're a CEO, a middle manager, a factory worker, or a single parent, or anything in between, it doesn't really matter your position, title, or role. A leader is the one who leads from the front, who sets the example, who walks the talk, who takes responsibility, and who makes a difference to others. So everybody is a leader. Now, granted, not everybody can become Gandhi or Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King, but we should learn to lead and influence others as best we can, I think. So an excellent way to lead well is through a real, authentic, and positive mindset. And so that's what I want to talk about today. A few ideas or principles of positive leadership that can be applied to help you to be your best, as I learned them from this book, Jon Gordon's The Power of Positive Leadership. All right, so having established what a leader is and that it applies to each of us, let's look a little more closely at what it means to be a positive leader. Now, the caution I have about all things positivity is that it can come off as fake and kind of Pollyanna, where one walks around acting as if the business or life challenges are not real and everything is unicorns and rainbows. So let's talk about what a real positive leader looks like. So as you can read and digest from the definitions here, you'll see that being real positive isn't filling you with falsehoods about the business situation or your performance. It's telling the truth in a positive way and finding a way to see the good in the most difficult situations. Being real positive is the ability to inspire. It's a mindset. It's a way of thinking and approaching your life and work. And so let's look at a breakdown of the costs and benefits of. So here are the benefits of positivity at work. You can read this here. The studies have shown that positive people outperform negative people. Salespeople sell more, optimistic people see the big picture, and positive leaders receive more pay raises and promotions and achieve greater success as examples. Here you can here you can see the benefits of positivity in life. Studies show here that positive-minded people live a happier, more fulfilling, and less stressful life. Their marriages are better, they have more friends, they make better decisions, etc. All right, so here are the costs of negativity at work. Kind of as a contrast to the positivity. Look here, it says negative people drag down others in their team and their organization, which reduces overall performance and productivity and increases stress. Clearly, the costs of negativity in your life are generally related to your health and relationships as well. Gallup estimates that negativity costs the economy $300 billion a year, and it affects the morale, performance, and productivity of teams. The research here, I think, is pretty clear. Positivity is about more than having a positive state of mind. It's a game changer and gives people a competitive advantage in business, sports, and in life. While pessimists are complaining about the future, the optimists are working hard with others to create it. Research shows that our attitude helps create a self-fulfilling prophecy because optimists believe in a positive future, they work hard to make it happen, and they take action to achieve it. All right, so having established that we are all leaders with influence and that a mindset of positivity is way better than being negative, let's consider some principles of positive leadership that we can apply today to help us to be better at our jobs and our life. Okay, principle one, create and share a positive vision. Jon Gordon writes about the value of your why. He calls it having a North Star. It's the vision of your future that motivates and inspires you to choose in alignment with your vision. Your North Star is your battle cry, your mantra. It's the voice opposite of the little devil that sits on your other shoulder telling you all the wrong messages. Or maybe it's just the thing that gets you out of bed every morning. Having a positive vision shapes our attitude about the future and helps to create the self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you don't have a North Star yet, ask yourself these questions. Where do you want to be professionally, in your relationships, financially, in your health? Where do you want to be in a month, a year, or 5 years from now? And then follow that up. Is what you are doing now going to get you there? And if not, then why not? And so then what do you need to do to get there? So let these questions help you to create your vision or your North Star. And once that vision is created, you've got to share it, because if your vision is big enough, it will take others to help you realize it. So you need to write it down and tell others and ask them to help you. Gordon talks about a couple of instruments or tools here. The telescope and the microscope will help you to pursue your vision. So the telescope gives you the big picture, the long-term plan, the goal, the vision, the North Star, and it helps you to keep your eye on it. The microscope, on the other hand, helps you to zoom in on the things that you need to do today and in the short term to realize the vision in your telescope. But you need both instruments. If you only have the telescope, then you'll be thinking about your vision all the time and dreaming about the future, but not necessarily taking the steps to realize it. But if you only have the microscope, then you'll be working hard every day, but the grind and the setbacks and the challenges will likely frustrate and discourage you because you lose sight of the big picture. So you need to pull out the telescope to remind you where you're going and why, and then also pull out the microscope to focus on what matters most and to follow through on your commitments. To me, these ideas are part of self-leadership. Before we can lead others well, no matter what our role is, we need to work on being our best self first. Vision, values, your why, these are the keys to helping us. Principle number 2, lead with optimism, positivity, and belief. There's 3 things here I want to cover. So first, the positive dog. There's an old fable about 2 dogs always fighting each other. One is always negative, the other is always positive, like the devil on one shoulder or the angel on the other. We can relate. We all have this positive and negative battle going on in our mind every day. The one who wins is the one who gets fed. So Gordon says, feed the positive dog. Or to put it another way, what you feed grows and what you starve dies, obviously. So every situation provides us the choice to experience the positive or the negative. Choosing to believe the positive and being optimistic wins over the opposite every time. Such a mindset is a competitive advantage in our life and work. All right, secondly, talk to yourself. Dr. James Gills says, and I quote, "I learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself," end quote. Now, this is a guy who completed back-to-back Ironman triathlons 6 times. And the last time he was 59 years old. And he said, I quote, "If I listen to myself, I hear all the reasons why I should give up. I hear that I'm too tired, I'm too old, I'm too weak to make it. But if I talk to myself, I can give myself encouragement and words I need to hear to keep running and finish the race," end quote. Too often, I think we listen to ourselves and hear all the complaints, self-doubt, fear, and negativity that leads to our unhappiness and failure and unfulfilled goals. But get this, just because you have a negative thought doesn't mean you have to believe it. Many of our negative thoughts just come from fear. And the truth is, fear is a liar. So instead of listening to the negative lies, we can choose to feed ourselves with the positive truth. Speak truth to the lies to get the strength to overcome our challenges. Finally, challenge is opportunity. An easy way to put this to practice at work is when faced with an obstacle or a problem, because that's kind of what our everyday looks like, right? We can say something like, I'm excited to see how we resolve this challenge, because every challenge is an opportunity to shine, to solve problems and save the day. We do this all the time. It doesn't matter what your job is or what role you're speaking of. The truth is, whatever is the terrible thing going on today, we can say, this too shall pass, right? Whatever we're freaking out about today will soon be in the rear view, and there'll be something new to deal with. And isn't it true that the best learning, the best stories, the best times of our lives are almost always about how something bad turned into something good? So let me tell you a short story here from my own experience. I endured a work problem where we had some custom components to make that involved a third-party vendor. And so, of course, the vendor was very late and everybody was freaking out about the schedule. Well, it finally arrived, and then what do you know? The customer delays the project, so they're not even ready. And so we were doing all this freaking out about the late vendor delivery for nothing. Then the customer's finally ready, and the logistics company who stored this expensive equipment lost the crates that they were in, and so we couldn't even deliver it. It was nuts. We just go from one problem to another, but in the end, it all worked out. It always does. The crisis passed and we moved on. But had I truly believed this principle, I could have endured it with far less stress. So that's what I keep reminding myself of to apply this. All right, principle 3, confront, transform, and remove negativity. First, Gordon talks about energy vampires. Negativity, of course, exists and it can't be ignored, or it will sabotage the team, the organization, the relationship, whatever. And negativity can literally suck the life out of the team like a vampire. Because not everybody's going to share your vision or believe in your dreams or have positive things to say. In fact, I know from my experience as a project manager, most of what I hear from our customers or our own team is complaints and problems and issues. And maybe you can relate. So our positive energy must be greater than the negativity we are facing. Gandhi said, and I quote, "I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet," end quote. So the first rule of thumb when weeding out the negative is to not let it bring you down. Just don't be afraid of it. It's kind of like the barking dog who runs away when you look it in the eye. I'm certainly not a pro at this, but I've been working on this idea of creating an atmosphere where the energy vampires are uncomfortable being negative. I try to listen with empathy and love, seeking to understand their point of view, let them have their rant and get it all out before I say anything. Then, as much as I can, depending on the situation, I'll try to take the blame, whether it's actually my fault or responsibility or not. What I find is that it diffuses the negativity because oftentimes I find the person is wanting me to agree with them. So when they see that I'm taking responsibility, their tone and attitude changes. For example, a contractor is upset because they don't have what they need. But when I apologize for it and offer a reason why it happened that maybe could have been prevented, they tend to calm down. And I can take these kind of jabs because I have a positive and solutions-oriented mindset. In the end, the negative person is going to calm down, and further, they'll see me as one who relieves their trouble the problem gets resolved and everybody wins. So if I agreed with the contractor's opinion that the supplier is terrible, that solves nothing. In fact, it might make matters worse because their negative view is affirmed and therefore would grow and persist. So here's how we can help a situation by being positive. Secondly, the no complaining rule. I really like this. um, Gordon says you're not allowed to complain unless you offer one or two possible solutions. Simple, beautiful. The goal, of course, is not to eliminate all complaining, but just to stop the mindless chronic complaining that fosters the negativity that doesn't help anything. The rule is meant to turn justified complaints into positive solutions. So, like, for example, customer complaints can improve our service, and employee complaints can serve as a catalyst for innovation or new processes. And our own complaints can let us know what we don't want so we can focus on what we do want. So in any job or any other role in your life, if you're complaining, you're not leading. And it starts with you. I've said this a couple times already. Self-leadership, it starts with you. In fact, the first step to becoming a better leader is becoming a better you. So if everybody adopted the no complaining rule, it would go a long way to fostering a positive culture in our homes, in our teams, and in the workplace. Try and remember that in dysfunctional, negative cultures, the leaders will focus on problems. In positive and high-performing cultures, the leaders focus on solutions. So how will you handle the energy vampires in your life? And what can you do today to work on the no complaining rule? Principle 4, build great relationships and teams. Love wins, period. You can't be a positive leader without having positive relationships. Those you lead follow you as a person first. And the extent that they follow depends on their answers to the questions, can I trust you? And do you care about me? So if you want people to follow your lead and to do so with all the fervor and commitment that you'd like, you must lead by being the person they would want to follow. Your people want to know if you are for real. And when they know that you love them, they will follow with passion and loyalty. Gordon says, and I quote, love is the greatest leadership principle on the planet. Love is what separates good and great. Good teachers know their lesson plans. Great teachers know and love their students. Good coaches know X's and O's. Great coaches know and love their players. And good salespeople know how to sell. Great salespeople love their clients. Good leaders know their vision and purpose, but great leaders also know and love their people, end quote. So regardless of title or profession, to be human is to love and want to be loved. We are who we are because someone loved us, and so our team will be impacted by our love. If you want to build a great team, business, or family, simply love the people you lead and work with. And here's a few questions we can ask ourselves to help that. What does love look like in your organization? And how are you showing love to your team each day or to your family or your business? And third, if you're not showing the love, what can you do to put it into practice? All right, secondly, let's talk about communication. One way to demonstrate love in relationships is through good communication. Of course, communication is an investment in relationships that builds trust, and trust generates commitment, and commitment fosters teamwork, and teamwork delivers great results. We have all the ways to communicate today. But honestly, I don't think we're doing a very good job of meaningful communication consistently, and I'm as guilty as anybody. It takes work and it can be really uncomfortable. But the truth is, where there is a communication void, negativity will fill it. This was huge for me. Write this down. Where there is a communication void, negativity will fill it. So don't wait for a crisis to communicate with your team or your customer or your family. Make it your top priority, and your foundation will be strong enough to handle the tough things when they come. Remember also that listening is part of communicating. We build relationships and earn trust and make better decisions when we are actively listening to others. Here's a couple of other positive communication ideas for you to consider. Shout praise, but whisper criticism, which simply means recognize people in front of their peers for good things, but coach them privately to help them get better. And never underestimate the power of a smile. You can make someone feel better just by smiling. You're acting as a doctor in a way by giving the person an antidepressant just with your smile. How about receive feedback? Every leader needs to be willing to learn and open to grow, having the attitude of let's be better together. And here's a doozy for me personally. Being mindful of my tone and my face. Most of my communication is done by phone. And even like this presentation, you can't see me, but only hear me. And since I work from home, my wife, who's also working from home, will remind me that sometimes I sound down or harsh or negative just by my tone, and it's not at all what I intended. So one way to help that is to be conscious of my face and posture. If I take a call while standing up and remember to smile, I will automatically sound more positive, polite, and encouraging. So if I'm ever on a call with you and I sound like a negative Nelly, just tell me to stand up and smile, all right? Okay, number 3, serve. Great leaders are great servants. Jesus washed feet. MLK fought for equality. Mother Teresa fed the poor. A great leader sacrifices and serves in order to help others become great. Make no mistake, we are all in the service business. No matter what role you play, your job is to serve those around you. And that includes those on the org chart who are below you. Though it's natural to think that those below you are meant to work for you or to serve you, since you're the boss and you're responsible for the outcome. But we are actually meant to serve them, to help them, to make sure that they have what they need, to provide guidance and support, to encourage them when it gets hard, to listen to their frustrations and partner with them to solve problems. I found that changing my mindset like this has gone a long way in reducing my stress on the job, but also in fostering extra commitment and effort from those that I serve. So write down these popular quotes to remind you of this important principle. The first one goes like this: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And the second one, you don't have to be great to serve, but you have to serve to be great. Wrapping it up here, Principle 5, leading with purpose. Gordon says, I quote, "We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it." End quote. Many people, I think, are seeking happiness and having a hard time finding it. It doesn't come from the work that you do, but from the meaning and the purpose you bring to your work. So paradigm shift here. Don't seek happiness. Happiness is an inside job. You've got to live your passion and purpose, and then happiness will find you. Also, don't chase success. Instead, decide to make a difference with a greater purpose, and success will find you. Strength Finder 2.0 author Tom Rath, he says this, I quote, "People are most energized when they are using their strengths for a bigger purpose beyond themselves," end quote. I don't know what your purpose should be, but we can all find a bigger purpose in the job that we have. But also be aware that your job may not be your ultimate purpose. But through your leadership, you can use your job to be a vehicle to share your greater purpose. My purpose is not just to build really cool stuff or to help the company make money, but really it's, I think, to help people live their healthy best, physically, mentally, spiritually. And I'm able to exercise my passion and purpose by giving presentations like this, where I can share what I'm learning on my healthy living journey in hopes that somebody else might be encouraged by it. And so living this passion and purpose over time has helped me to be a better project manager, which helps the company be successful. And I think your passion and purpose can do the same thing. So let's talk about purpose-driven goals. Gordon suggests that numbers and goals don't drive people. People with a purpose drive the numbers and achieve goals. Without a good reason to keep moving forward during the challenges, you either quit or you just go through the motions. But your greater purpose will lead to greater performance. True motivation is driven by meaning and purpose rather than extrinsic rewards in the numbers. We still need to measure the numbers and have revenue targets, for example. These are important for sure. They indicate how we're doing. I'm just saying that you'll be more energized and productive when you tap into a bigger purpose for reaching the numbers and the goals. Gordon says, I quote, "Yes, count the fruit, but know it's just a byproduct of how well you are nurturing the root," end quote. The root, of course, is purpose. And as a leader, you need to know, remember, and live your why and inspire the people on your team and your family to live their why. When you're driven with purpose, you will inspire others to drive with purpose. One word. This is a powerful and practical way to live with purpose throughout the year. Pick a word for the year that will inspire you to live with more meaning and mission, passion, and purpose. Clemson football coach Dabo Swinney, his word for the year that their team won the national championship was love. And he said, I quote, "My word all year was love, and I told my team that their love for each other was going to make the difference," end quote. It's the why behind the word that gives it meaning and purpose. I chose the word intentional this year because I want my time and energy and money to be used consciously, on purpose. So keeping this word in the front of my mind helps me keeps me from wasting my time on things that don't really matter. So if you had to pick one word to live by that would inspire you at work and at home, what would it be and why? There's a question for you to think about. Lastly, let's talk about legacy for a moment. The most important legacies you can leave as a leader are people and a world that have been impacted by your leadership. So ask yourself, what legacy will you leave professionally and personally? And how do you want to be remembered, both at work and in your life? Answering these questions can help you to define your one word and your purpose and to live a life and lead a life of great purpose. Wow. Whew, that was a lot. So now what? We made it. There's the five principles. So I think your one decision to be a positive leader will not only impact your life, but also your relationships, your family, your friends, and your team. A person changes and then they help others change. A leader inspires others and develops more leaders. The seed you plant today becomes the harvest you enjoy tomorrow. It's absolutely this ripple effect. You may not see the harvest, but don't let that stop you from planting the seeds. There's lots of seeds to plant. There's lots of lives to change, teams to transform, problems to solve, a world to improve. And I think that when you become a positive leader, you will not only make yourself better, but you'll make everyone around you better. It's contagious. So there you have it. This is my summary of Jon Gordon's book, The Power of Positive Leadership. I'll be curious to hear your feedback, so leave a comment or connect with me privately at your convenience. And don't forget to check out teamquadzilla.com for more content like this to help you be your best.